Hello, this is the Renegade Gamer, and I have another review for you. Just as the title suggests, we're reviewing Justice League War, DC animated movie. I know this has been out for a while. Okay, I need to get something out of the way real fast. In my last review I did of a DC movie, I didn't clarify something a little bit. Okay, I went online, I checked out a few things, and I apologize for how I was in that review. I was unaware that they pretty much took that from a comic book, from a graphic novel, pretty much thing to thing. I stand by what I say. I still think it would have been a better thing had they done it. If they just stuck to their guns. I don't. I want to make that clear. I still think it would have been a better movie if they'd stuck to one story arc instead of three. So, anyway, I just want to get that out of the way. Another thing that you need to know is that I judge these movies based solely off of what they are. I don't look at the source material. I don't look at now, some of these I have read the source material on. I don't take that into effect, okay? These movies have to stand alone for what they are. If what they are doesn't work, then that's the rating I'm giving them. I'm not giving any leeway here. For instance, Batman. Which one is it? It's Batman. Okay, we'll just use the Dark Knight Dark Knight Returns. Okay, I know that's I know that's pretty much scene for scene out of the comic. That's fine, but those movies work, and I do plan on reviewing them. But those movies work. The point is, even though I've read the source material, I don't use that with the main movie. The movie has to stand by itself. It is a product. It is a medium of its own self. For instance, the Red Hood. The Red Hood was redone and remade. It's completely different from the comic. So I just want to get that out of the way before I put anything else out here. Alright, now that I've gotten that completely done, I will review the movie. I'm sorry, I just want to make that perfectly clear. Alright, so what we have here is an adaptation of Jeff Johns' New 52, the origin story, pretty much, of the Justice League, which takes place right after Flashpoint. So, what did I think of the movie? Well, there's some stuff in it I like, and there's a lot of stuff in the movie I don't. And I got a bullet point list here for you, and I'm going to go through each one of them. Alright, so let me start out by saying what some of the biggest problems this movie is. The biggest problem of this movie is that it doesn't really have a story. Not really. You have basically it doesn't really have a story. It's supposed to be a story of how this team comes together and is able to put aside their differences and work together to fight off Darkseid. Okay, that in its own self has a lot of problems, and I'll get to that. But that's supposed to be pretty much the story, and it's not done extraordinarily well. There's not a lot to it. Now, I'll get into the complexities and inconsistencies of what exactly I think is wrong with the story. Excuse me one second, I need a drink. And what I think is so here's some of the things I think is the problems. And I'm just going to go through the bullet list here and go over some of them. Problem one. Superman is an arrogant, cocky asshole in this movie. What do I mean by that? He is brutal in this film. The first time we see him, it looks like he's trying to rip Batman to shreds. You could argue that that's him just being playful with the guy. No, he looks fucking pissed. He looks like he's wanting to literally rip Batman in half. And now the fight's fun, but I mean, he's destroying a lot of stuff in the city. He's just doing a lot of stuff that doesn't seem like Superman. Not only that, he's kind of a jerk through the whole film. I mean, I don't see what people saw in this character. I don't see what these characters saw in him. I mean, I don't get why Wonder Woman's interested in him. I don't get why Batman thinks of him as a friend. I mean, he's a jerk in this film. It's from point A to point B. I mean, to point C. He is a solid jerk through the whole movie. Paul Malls, if you're curious. Okay. Yeah, I smoke. Not weed, not just cigarettes. Anyway, so that's a big problem. His characterization, he's a complete asshole in this movie. But he's not the only one that has problems. Let's go to some other ones here. Let's see, what else did I have problems with here? I got problems all over the place. Okay. Okay, I have a question. And now this is more of a question here. Okay, so our bad guy, Darkseid, his plan is to basically come to our world, terraform it, and create apocalypse. Okay. I can roll with that. But I have a few questions here. Why now? What is the purpose? Why is it so important that we terraform Earth now? It's never given any reason. We're never told anything. Darkseid barely says anything in this movie, even though Steve Blum's the one that's doing the voice acting. So why now? What is the purpose? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. You know, and they've gone out of their way before trying to prove to have a. They've gone out of their way before why he's supposed to be doing this. I mean, usually the reason that he comes in areas like this is because he's looking for the what's it called? The number, the Omega number, or I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's a I'll think of it later. He's looking usually for a I can't even remember what it's called, but it's basically life equation. It's anti-life equation, if I remember right. That's what it's called. He's looking for an anti-life equation, and that's not here. I mean, why? What is the purpose of him coming here? I mean, it makes no sense. It's really convenient that, you know, he shows up. All these heroes happen to be in, all these heroes happen to be there. Cyborg gets made, which is one of the things I do think works, and I'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, I mean, it's just very convenient. It doesn't work. I have a problem with it. Darkseid should be definitely Darkseid's usually a more interesting villain than this, and he's kind of, well, he's kind of wasted. I mean, they don't really do anything with him. I know I complained about Darkseid in the last film I reviewed. I know I complained about him some in the last film I reviewed, which was what was it called now? Apocalypse. Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. Where I said, he's basically, I'm bored, I need fury. This is even worse, though, because it's like, I'm bored, I need something to do. Oh, here's a planet, let's go terraform the hell out of it. That would have been fine if you gave me that, but we get nothing. As the audience, you're just left clueless. What's the point? Anyway, going on to the next few things. The tone. This is something I have to get to. Now, I talked about tone in the Arkham Assault on Arkham game movie, and I mentioned in that this this is one of the movies that I thought had a problem with tone. What I mean by that is that certain scenes are so damn silly that they don't fit with the movie, what the movie's trying to project. And it's kind of funny because the scenes are humorous. They're cringeworthy, a couple of them, but they are humorous. Okay, so what we have here is we have a lot of language, and it doesn't really feel justified why it's in the film, except that we're trying to do something that's supposedly more realistic towards how the real world would see heroes, and this is how we all talk out here. I know I curse some here and there, but reality is I'm pretty mild about my cursing, compared to some people I know. But the thing about it is that this movie did curse a lot, and I just don't feel like it's really justified, because you have some scenes in this that really undermine the tone that they're getting at. Because there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of cursing, and there's some over sexualization of Wonder Woman in general. Now, where I'm getting at with that is, we have a scene where she pulls up with Steve Trevor in a limo, and she gets out, and there's a big giant protest going on. It goes, we can't stand Wonder Woman, we can't stand Wonder Woman. And the main guy holding it, she throws a lasso around and tells him, it's like, what's the problem? And he's like, you dress like a whore, you swing that sword around and stab everybody, and you dress like a whore. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, really? She looks clothed to me. I mean, she's not showing off any cleavage or nothing. It's pretty conservative, to all things considered. And, then she throws a lasso around him. She goes, tell me the truth about whatever it is. And he goes, I dress up as Wonder Woman at home. It feels like it gives me power. And then she says, like, the most weirdest line in the movie. She's like, yes, it gives me my power too. And when I dress like this, it's just a strange scene. I mean, it doesn't fit with the rest of the film. And then, of course, you have the infamous ice cream scene. I know everybody's talking about this one. And to be honest with you, I like the ice cream scene just because it's so humorous to me. But I will freely admit that it's a bad scene. The way she delivers the line, ice cream is great, it's a really bad scene. And it really doesn't work for the whole tone that this movie's trying to carry. Let's see. Then we have some other things that don't fit here real well, and things that aren't really fleshed out a lot. Now, one thing to note is that if you're a reader of the comics, you probably know a lot about what's going on in here. But if you don't read comics and you just like watching these movies, you're going to be missing out on a lot of stuff. Okay, here's some questions that I know some people are going to be asking, if they're paying attention at least. Why is the GCPD chasing Batman? Why is the Navy after Green Lantern? Why is it that Superman's rough around the edges? Why is all these things going on? These are problems because if you don't have any kind of ideal of comics in general, or why these things might be occurring, you're left clueless. I mean, seriously, you are left completely clueless why this is going on. And now, I freely admit, I did not read War. I didn't read this comic. I haven't read any of the New 52. I haven't read anything. The last graphic novel I remember reading was about 4 years ago, and I haven't read anything since then. I've listened to a few graphic audios, and I listened to Final Crisis on it, but that's my point, is that these things are left out and you have no clue. Now, granted, it's background information, but it's needed there, to flesh these people out of what's going on. Alright, so let's go some other ones here that I have a problem with. Let's see. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's go back here. Sorry, I'm just going over my bullet points. I do have positives for this movie. I just want to get the negatives knocked out real quick. because that's where I got most of the things here. Some other questions. Why does a parademon dress up like Batman? And if that's true, that means, okay, here's a problem in the film that I find. You have a parademon that dresses up like Batman. Okay, we come to find out that these parademons, they're not robots. They're not even real demons. They are, all intents and purposes, originally life forms that have been indoctrinated into parademons by Darkseid. And, you know, they've been changed into these creatures. Now, you could argue it's a mercy to kill these things, and I wouldn't argue against you. Except that, once again, we don't know this until well after they started attacking. And our heroes have already killed many of these things. Now, this is a problem and is not a problem at the same time. And I'm going to explain why. Okay. The reason that it's a problem is because you have your heroes murdering sentient beings. Okay? You have the DC heroes murdering sentient beings. Some of them, it's not a big deal with. Wonder Woman is not a real big deal. She deals with mythological creatures as well as many other things. And we know for a fact she uses a sword. We know that she uses, you know, whatever means. She's a warrior. Batman is a problem with because he does not kill. Now, here's why this is not a problem. And you just got to roll with me. Just follow what I'm saying here. Okay, this is why this is not a problem to me. I can watch this. They can slaughter all of them, and it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me because majority of the characters in this movie, the point of this film is it's an origin story. This is a very young group of heroes. The only one that's probably been operating a long time is Batman. We know that for a fact. We know that Flash has been around for a while. But the rest of them, they're very recent. We know that Wonder Woman, or we can at least assume or guess, that Wonder Woman has just arrived from Themyscira. Okay, that makes perfect sense. We can kind of assume that Superman's just starting out. He's known about, but it doesn't seem like people trust him that well. Okay, that's fine. We also have, you know, we have several other heroes. Green Lantern, you know, it seems like he's a rookie. And all this works, except that, you know, like I said, it doesn't bother me in general. It's just, it's because it's a very young team of superheroes that we're dealing with here. So it isn't a big deal. Yeah, slaughter them. I mean, but it is, like I said, it's a problem and not a problem at the same time. So it's kind of weird, but it's something that does need to be brought up. Okay, a couple other things I don't care for, and then I'll start talking about some things I do like. Okay, I've already told you basically I don't like Darkseid in the movie. I think I think he's a terrible villain for the film. I mean, he has no characterization or anything. Some other things I didn't care for. I didn't really like some of the voice actors. Ironically, the one voice actor you'd think I'm going to say, I'm not. I don't really think that Wonder Woman in this movie is that horrible. I actually think it's the writing. And she just, the way that she delivers it is not really salvageable. I don't think you can really do anything with it. I do think Superman's voice actor sucks. I do like Green Lantern. I like the Batman voice. Took me a while to adjust to, but he's fine for the most part. I wish Flash got more to do. Shazam was kind of there. I barely even noticed him. And then there's Cyborg. Now, Cyborg is something I really liked in this movie. But, alas, I'm about to talk about him in a second. I have one last thing about this movie that I do not care for. Okay. I hate some of the designs they went with here. Mainly it's Superman. I don't like the design of the character. I think he's too muscular. I don't like the outfit. I noticed the new 52 outfits we're going with here. I don't like the outfit. I think it doesn't work. I don't really care for Wonder Woman's outfit, to be honest with you. Although that may just be me used to the old classic, cheesy outfit she usually wears. And her design is fine, but some points in the movie it doesn't look real good. I guess the point I'm making here. I don't really care for Darkseid's design that much. I like the Flash's design. I like Green Lantern's design. I like the whole transition we get with Cyborg's design. So there are some designs I'm fine with, but some of them I'm not. But I'm not sure what else to tell you there. Okay, one last big problem to this movie. From start to finish, this movie is nothing more than a slugfist fight. Okay? The heroes are constantly fighting. Almost, it's what, about an hour and, I think it's a 79-minute movie. At least 60 minutes of this movie is dedicated to fighting. And that is a problem, okay? You got so much action in this movie that it kind of reminds me when I went and watched Transformers 4. Okay? I was with the film for a long time. And then the last hour and a half was nothing but a fucking long-ass fight. I'm sorry, it grades on me after a while. I'm like, can we not wrap this up? And that's kind of how it felt like in this movie. It felt like it didn't have enough story to it. And there's this one solid fight sequence the whole film. And that's a problem. It didn't feel like the stakes raised. When Darkseid came in, I guess they did. But I didn't mind the whole stabbing in the eyes of Darkseid. I did think that was kind of inventive how they did that. I know some people have problems with that, but it didn't bother me. Stab him in the eye with a sword, hit him in the eye with a crowbar. I don't care, But a lot of these fights, I wasn't really invested in. I didn't really see any. I was just like, okay, they're fighting the parademons again. Okay. So anyway, I've sat here bitched for 20 minutes about things I don't care for in the film. So, is there anything in the film I like? Yes. Yes, there's quite a few things in this movie I like. Let me go over them here. Let me get a thing here. Okay. First off, Cyborg's story. Victor Stone. His story is by and far the most interesting part of this movie. It is really interesting the way they do it. His father's the one that actually gets the character arc of the two. Okay, what we have here is that his father believes that because all these superheroes have appeared, that basically what his son is, which is a football player, is completely irrelevant. I mean, doesn't matter at all. And because of that, he's not invested in anything his son does with football or sports whatsoever. So in essence, he's not really invested in his son's life until he loses his son. And, explosion happens, and yes, Victor does it to himself. He gets the boombox, and it infects himself with it. It's a very stupid movie, does. But the point of the matter is that once that occurs, we get a great, we get this great moment with his father, who does everything in his power to try to save his son's life. And what the movie's trying to prove here is that he cares very much about his son. And it works. It works very well. At the end of the movie, when his son is standing up there with the rest of the heroes, The father's down there in the row. He's sitting there watching his son. He's very proud of him. You know, he's invested in his life. Now, you could argue that this is completely not character development at all. He's like, you know, my son doesn't matter at all. Oh, he's a hero now. He matters. You could argue that, but I think that it works the way I just mentioned. You know, you can look at it either way, I guess. But I do like this. I do like that area there. Let's see other things. The scene with Batman and Green Lantern before he goes to Apocalypse to save Superman. I thought it was very well done. I kind of found it fun. You know, he ties his his cape up, and he throws a stocking on his head, and you're sitting there like, what the hell is he doing? You know, and you know, he has a conversation with Green Lantern during this whole time, and he basically tells Green Lantern, you and I, as far as I can see it, we're dealing with an Amazon, a Kryptonian, a human lightning bolt, a speedster, and a cyborg. As far as I can tell, you and I are the only humans on the team. And I really thought that worked well, because it really did show that these two are a lot alike in some ways, at least at the base level as humans. So I thought that worked really well. I liked Green Lantern's somewhat character arc he gets in the movie. You know, he starts off as a very cocky, very sure of himself person who actually can't really concentrate on his constructs very much, to finally becoming more of a seasoned hero. You know, he becomes a more level-headed hero. You know, and he is finally able to kind of hold his constructs longer than, like, you know, them getting shattered. Another thing I want to mention here is that I love the constructs in this movie that from the Lantern's Ring. You know, we see a lot of great things. We see a train. We see a safe. We see a bed. Some other things. We see this cannon, like firing missile thing. Oh, the bouncy ball. You know, that was a lot of fun, seeing the ball getting bounced around all over the place. You know, a lot of stuff. You know, I really enjoyed seeing a lot of the Lantern's constructs. See some other things. Oh yeah, the Batman Green Lantern banter was good against each other. I know I'm mostly harking this on Batman and Green Lantern, but there was other parts too. I liked Flash in this movie, although he doesn't get anything to do hardly. I like Cyborg in this movie. He actually gets a lot to do, and like I said, this for all intents and purposes is Cyborg's movie, which is fine. I don't mind that. Like I said in one of my reviews, I don't mind going with a character I don't know a lot about. I'm perfectly fine following a character I don't know a lot about. Let's see. We got Shazam. He's there. Let's see. So that's pretty much all my bullet points. So, all I really have to say about this film is that I like it, but I don't think it's good. I don't think this movie was really warranted. I really don't think there's any story to this movie that you could have told. And you know, could they went back and changed it and had real fun with it? Yeah, they could have, but they didn't. So overall, I mean, it's not a bad film. I mean, if you want to burn about 79 minutes and just watch a slugfest, you know, a fist fight for 79 minutes, yeah, go for it. I mean, you know, it's not bad, but it does have some error. It's got its problems. You know, that's what I'm saying. So for a rating, I'm going to have to go with a 2.5 out of this for this one as well. Not bad. It doesn't have a really strong story. The stuff with Cyborg works really well. I do think the animation, for the most part, is good. I think that the fight scenes are well choreographed, and you know. Oh, and we get the little cutscene at the end with Aquaman. That was kind of cool. Well, it's not really Aquaman. It's the Ocean Master, or I can't remember. Anyway, you know, overall 2.5 out of 5. It's just below average. I mean, it's not bad. You know, It ain't great, but yeah, so that's where I'm gonna leave it out. This is 2.5. So this is the Renegade Gamer, and I wish y'all good night. You know, rate, comment, subscribe below if you want, and I'll work on getting some more videos. So y'all have a good night and take it easy. Bye.